So Boxing Day 2004, I was living in Malaysia. In the middle of the night, I was woken up. I could see all the clothes in the wardrobe just moving left and right. Everything was shaking. Realised there was a slight problem, an earthquake. We all got out of the building very quickly. And we were standing on the edge of the waterfront outside the building. My first thought was, I wonder if the water's going to go out, having seen the documentaries about earthquakes and tsunamis. And it didn't, and I spoke to some of the locals. They said, oh, no, we don't have that problem here. And when we saw where the earthquake was in Aceh, the assumption was there would be no effect. Next morning I got up and I just felt quite uneasy. And whilst I knew it was a long way away, I decided to stay home for the day, and I was sitting on the balcony. And in the middle of the morning, probably 10:30, 11 o'clock, I saw a white line on the horizon looking up to the north from the island. And it didn't look like much, it was just a white line. When I got a fair bit closer, I could see it wasn't just a 1 metre high white line. What was behind that white line was the really hard thing to sort of grasp. It was like just a lump of water, but it was huge and it just kept going. Then, as it hit the peninsula, it pushed quite a large fishing boat across the peninsula into the highway. And water was going everywhere, and I thought, well, this is a bit bigger than we thought. And at the same time, the water was heading out of the bay on which we lived. And the fishermen were trying to paddle as fast as they could to get out of there. But still, you thought, this is a 1 metre wave. Is this going to give us such a huge problem? Came into the bay, reflected off the bottom of the bay back onto itself, and you had this sort of wave interference pattern. It was quite interesting. And of course, when that happens, the wave gets twice as high as it does. It marched back up the bay, coming over the wall, pushing motorbikes out of the way. It pushed cars around, went through a restaurant that was on a pier just up the road. Made a hell of a mess. But the amount of damage that very small wave did made me think, when you're looking at something that you don't have a point of reference for, you don't appreciate the danger. You don't appreciate what's about to happen. And that's how I look at climate change. Imagine we're all on the beach and the water's heading out, it's getting pulled out, and everybody's sitting there looking at the shallows, the fish and the rocks. And that's what I think we, day to day, in our societies do. We look at what's happening today, or what the latest politician's doing, or the latest crisis. But if you walk away from the beach and go up the back, say there's a big sand dune at the back of the beach, and if you look a little bit further out to sea, you probably see there's a white line out there. But even then, it may not mean much to you because you haven't seen a tsunami before, but it's there. Climate change is that white line that's out to sea. Most people are sitting in the shallows talking about the flapping fish. We need to make sure we keep an eye out there and understand the impact makes everything else we're used to insignificant. Climate change is going to have significant impacts on our economy, on our insurances, on our food production, our whole way of life. Life as we know it today and what we appreciate and value will fundamentally shift. So, yeah, some rich people might be able to insulate themselves in a nice little atmosphere somewhere, but not for long, because the world works as a system and we're a part of it.